Hey guys, Obelisk here again with another installment to my DAoC class overview video series. Tonight we're going to talk about necros, and more specifically we're going to talk about caster necros. I've already made a melee necro video talking about the pain working spec. That's in my YouTube channel if you want to look back. That was one of the first videos I did. I think it was actually the first video I did in this series, so maybe go back and check that out if you're curious about melee necros. But tonight we're going to talk about the different baseline spells that necros get, the spec line spells they get in Death Servant and Death Sight. Some specs you go, some strategies, some template choices, things like that. They're a pretty cool class. Got a lot going on. I don't think they're the best class right now, caster necros, but they're all right. They're interesting. Sorry if my voice is getting a little scratchy. It probably will get more scratchy as the video goes on, but I've been doing a few of these tonight. Anyway, we're hopping into game, and I'm on my friend Realdore's Necro. He's got a big old rank 12 Necro that hits real hard and does a lot of cool things. First off, what we're going to do is we're going to look through the baseline spells just to see what we're working with for free. We're going to start with Death Sight baseline, and we'll look at what we have. First off, let's look at our different forms. Decrepit form, that's going to be our main. So you're always going to be in a form on Necro. You're very rarely going to be in that little the normal, I guess, your normal being self, like this. I'm always going to be in some sort of form. So let's look at the Death Sight form. So what this does is it increases my magic damage by 10%. So that's a pretty good increase. I'm already nuking 10% harder than most other casters with the same delve nukes. So good damage there. My ABS is slightly decreased, so I'm a little more tanky than I am normally. Keep in mind, necros do not get a self ABS buff. Like most casters, I think, get an 11 ABS buff. Necros don't get that. So they're kind of a little vulnerable there. But this kind of helps. It gives you a little more ABS. Also, the cool thing about this form is melee attackers get a disease applied to them when they hit me. It's 100% defensive proc rate for them to be diseased. Also, when I'm in this form, my healing, my in combat healing is increased. So my health should be ticking up relatively quickly with this form, quicker than other forms. And actually, I guess we'll go ahead and look at all the forms while we're here. Now, the Death Servant form is a spirit form. So this doesn't give you any sort of ABS boost or AF boost or anything like that. But what it does give me is 10% of the damage I'm taking is cut off, and it says it heals my power. So I guess if I get hit for 100, it takes 10 of that and adds it to my power. So that's nice. Pretty much a free conversion, which is always a good thing. Also the cool thing is I get a lot of power regen in this form, and necros do use a ton of power. They have just an insane amount of power cost in their spells, so this helps keep my power going. Keep in mind, when you swap forms, you do lose power. It's about 9% or so per swap form, so you gotta be careful if you're running low on power to not cycle your forms so much. And also, while I'm in this form, my pets become stronger. They do different things, and we'll talk about that when we get to the pets. But one cool thing here is it gives me like a base stealth lore. So when I'm running around this form, I can see stealthers a bit better. And now the last form we'll look at, the pain working form, the tank form. We're not really going to use this much because when you go into this form, you lose your pets, and pets are pretty strong on Necro, so you want to keep those up. But I guess if your pet dies in the middle of a fight and then you get a bunch of tanks or something on you, you can swap to this form. What happens here is your health increases by 30, your absorption increases by 20, so you get a decent amount of ABS. Your secondary resists go up by 15%, so you get a free like AOM7 or something like that, and you have an ability to parry. Your armor factors increase by a good amount, and obviously your weapon skill goes up, but like you don't have a sword that you're swinging, so that doesn't matter. But essentially you become a lot tankier. You get 20 ABS, 30% more health, and a lot more armor factor. Just to show, we have 526 armor factor, and then when we drop it, we lose almost half of it. So we have 268 base. When I'm in this form, same thing. This form, same thing. When I go into this form, it goes up to 526. So I almost double my armor factor. My ABS goes up a lot, but you lose your pet. So only use this when you're willing to sacrifice your pet or if your pet's dead. So now that we have all the forms covered and hopefully understood, we'll go on and look at some different spells here. All right, Death Sight baseline. So basically, main thing you need to know, you get your life tap. And for Death Sight spec line, this is your main nuke. It's just a good old 179 delve, 2.5 second cast time, life tap. 50% return, so it's not quite as good as a Sorks or anything like that, but it's a fast, I'm not buffed at all. I'm going to go get realm buffs real quick, but it's a hard hitting life tap, especially if I'm in this form. It's going to be nuking even harder. Let's see. Let's get buffs real quick. Sorry, I should have done this earlier. Also, just a side note about necros, you definitely want base AF, preferably from a bot too, because it's higher than realm or supremacy pot buffs. But base AF from a bot for sure, because that increases your armor factor by a good amount. So now we have realm buffs. We're not capping like we should, but you know, you can see the damage is there. I'm hitting for 679, and then if I drop my form, this mob is weird, and so like, yeah, maybe hitting for the same, but that's just my overall cap. I guess in practice my damage will go up by 10%, but since I'm hitting cap anyway, I guess it doesn't really go up. So yeah, that's your main nuke and Death Sight. If you're Death Sight spec. Next, you get this this little Unholy Ground deal, and what this does is it puts a ground target on top of. Oops, what am I thinking? Unholy Ground. Here we go. Puts a little ground target effect ability on top of whatever you have targeted, and it's just a disease. And if you see it right there, that little thing, that's the ground target, and it just pulses disease in the area. I guess you can't really see it pulsing, but yeah, I guess that's the pulse. But it's a 75 radius, so it's a pretty small radius. The initial radius I feel like is bigger because you saw it hit that guy initially, that little blue wave. But I guess each subsequent disease tick is pretty low radius. Anyway, it's a good way to apply a disease to a target. It's only a 500 range, so they have to be pretty close. A lot of the times it's used as self-peel, I feel like. Or if you're mocking someone down on top of you, throw it on them. But it's a free disease. It lasts for 30 seconds, a little rune, and it's a 1 minute 30 recast. Now you have a variety of these little ground effect abilities, and they all share reuse. So this is going to put your damage rune on recast, and also your power heal little ground target thing on recast too. But we'll get to those later. Next, you get a single target dot. So just we'll stay in this form. Just a cool little dot. Does a good amount of damage. 1500 range, 2.8 second cast time, 69 delve. Not huge. Probably wouldn't really bother with it, honestly. You do get a good AoE dot in Death Sight spec, but we'll get to that later. Now let's go to Painworking first. There's a lot in Death Servant. So Painworking, you get a really high damage shield. I don't like damage shields because they break roots, so I wouldn't even put this on my bar. If I'm a Painworking Necro, I'll use this because I'm getting hit a lot and want to do as much damage. In melee, I'm not really CCing, but with Necros and groups, caster Necros, I want people to be able to CC off me. So I won't really look at that. I get a nice con debuff, instant con debuff for free red. Debuffs 41 con, 7 second recast, 45 second duration, 1500 range. Put this on whoever you can, may as well. It's a nice debuff, especially on anyone you're nuking. Anyway, we'll move on. Freezing Ground, this is your other damage rune. And what this does is it puts it on top of you, wherever you are, and then it just damages in the area. So you can see it there, and it's just pulsing cold damage, 112 cold damage. So it's a decent little DD. Yeah, it's all right. I wouldn't really use it much on caster Necro. It's mainly better for tank Necros. I'd rather use the disease rune on caster Necros. But if you need like just a little bit of damage to finish someone off that's on top of you, maybe throw that up. And that's going to do it for the Painworking line. Now, the Death Servant line is where things get interesting because that's where all your pets are. But we'll look at the abilities that Necros have outside of pets in this line first. So first off, we get this little power absorb thing. And what this is a 1500 range instant power leak plus DD. And it's a, let's see, let's start nuking this guy. It's a 20-second reuse timer, but it's a great way to interrupt because it's a free 1500 range instant DD. The power regen is nice. It's definitely nice, especially with Necro, but the fact that it's just a free interrupt is great. So when you saw me there, sorry, I should have been more mindful about when I used it. So you saw this, this is the power leak. It's an instant, it did 193 damage and it steals 50 power. Now in RVR, it's going to steal more power than that because when you use things like power leaks on mobs or NPCs, it's only going to return the level of that mob in power. So this guy's level 50, so it returned 50 power to me. This guy right here, level 1, it's only going to return 1 power to me. So that's it's a unique little bit, but it'll return more power in RVR. So this is a good way to get some power back up. Also a good way to help spike with your damage. It's not a huge DD, but it's a good interrupt. I mainly like to use it as an interrupt. Other things in this line, we get this little nice heal over time. And what this is an instant heal over, or not heal over time, it's a health regen, I should say. They're different. It's a nice little heal over time. Cast on myself. I believe it cast on my pet too. Not 100% sure. We'll test it in a second. But it's a 76 heal over time for your target and 61 for you. So might as well put it up when you're low on health or something. It's a 15-second duration, 30-second reuse timer. It's pretty decent, but nothing crazy, you know. You get a pet demez. Whoops, have to have a pet to cast it, I guess. But yeah, pet demez. We'll go ahead and put that there. When we pull up a pet, we'll show you. And that's pretty much it. Oh, also, sorry, I forgot about the rune. So this rune, what it does is it puts a little power regen. It's almost like a font of power that you throw on someone or yourself. It's a targeted ability, so you put it on a group mate or yourself. It's a 2000 range, so it's pretty high range. You can put it on someone across the fight. Then it just restores a little bit of power in combat too, so it's okay. So I'm putting it on myself. You can see, you know, it's sitting there. I regained 39 power. It's not much power, you know, it's something. It's okay. If you're really struggling for power, you can see, you can watch my power spike up when it hits. Assuming I don't get a big power spike. Just, yeah, it's okay. I think that was a bit of a natural power regen too, but anyway, let's look at the pets. So first off, we have Summon Aegis. So what this thing does is creates a little scorpion fella. He's just a big tanky pet, right? I go into my other form, and also this guy, he just has a lot of health. He doesn't really do anything crazy. He has, especially in this form, he has a lot of magic resist and a lot of hit points. He used to be unCCable. I think you can CC him now. He just has a ton of resist, so he's not CC'd for very long. But yeah, he's just a pretty decent little tanky pet. He's good to throw in there and then just kind of forget about him, heal him every now and then. Just there to be annoying. Now next we have, let me put the pets on this bar. Next we have, let's find our next pet. Summon Sultron. Sultorn? Yeah, Sultorn. So this is a caster pet. And this guy's kind of cool because he just sits here and he nukes. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to get in a duel with my other Necro. So I get out of combat. Let's see if I can pull up the delve on this. So what this guy does is, right now, he's just using little, he's nuking, but he's also applying a 30% matter debuff. This is important when you're Death Servant spec because you nuke matter. So this guy can help debuff for you. So he does a little bit of damage. It's not crazy. He's not buffed, keep that in mind, but he's doing 141 damage unbuffed to a Necro that has probably not a lot. Yeah, you only have 8 matter resist right now, but 24 matter resist is my template, but no like matter buffs or anything, CL buffs or anything like that. So now the interesting thing though, when I transform into this form, you'll see he changes. So he just changed into a phantom. We'll see what he does now. So he's going to do the same thing. He's going to debuff nuke, but he's going to also add a disease to that. It's not, I think it's an AoE, it shows up as an AoE disease, but I don't see a radius on the spell, so it might not be an AoE disease. Anyway, he's disease nuking with a matter debuff. And the matter debuff is still 30%. Also, sorry, one thing I forgot to say, it's a snare nuke as well. Now let me see if it's a snare nuke when I'm in this form. Let's get him to stop attacking. Alright, we can start attacking again. I think it's a snare nuke in both forms, but sorry. Yeah, it's a snare nuke in both forms. A 15% snare nuke. So it's an okay snare nuke. In the upgraded form, it applies a disease. In both forms, it applies a matter debuff. So that's pretty dang good. So if you want an annoying pet to help your damage, to be annoying from range, to slow him down a little bit, apply a disease, that's your guy right there. Now, next pet we have is the Fiend. Oops, that's not the Fiend. Yeah, it is. So we have this little Played Fiend fellow, and what he does is he just hits hard. Hard for a pet, Granted, like I don't have a ton of AF. Actually, I need to chill out because I need to get base AF and stuff from a bot real quick. So my Necro's getting hit super hard because it's a Necro, and Necros get hit hard melee, especially when unbuffed. So I'm getting realm buffs, which aren't great, but they're a little bit better. But against a normal caster, I'll be hitting a good amount less than this. But we'll just test the damage on this Necro, regardless. So let's see how much we're hitting for. Still pretty high. 356, 437. Good amount of damage. Now let's go into this form and see what happens. So he becomes the Umbral Hulk. We'll tell him to attack. Hits for a little less, but let's see. What's he doing here? He's applying an armor factor debuff as well as an ABS debuff. So with all that applied, he's still hitting pretty weak, but against tanks, he's going to hit a lot harder because that armor factor and ABS debuff is going to go a lot further. Funny thing is also he just back stunned there, so keep that in mind. He'll back stun for, it's a 3-second stun, so it's not great, but it's a relatively low immunity. So he doesn't hit as hard, but he'll now stun. We'll go back to this form. Let the guy heal a little bit. Let him transform back. Sorry, we're just testing the pets here. I know it's taking a little while, but you'll be able to get a lot of information. So this guy, yeah, he's hitting pretty hard. He's actually hitting a little less hard than he was, so I don't know what's going on there. But less hard than he was when he was last a Played Fiend, I should say. So that's kind of weird. So it appears he doesn't stun or anything in this form. It's only when he's in the upgraded form. He's using style, so when he styles, he hits a lot harder. He's hitting for nearly 400 with the style. So let's turn him back into a Hulk. See how long it takes him to stun. So he's just missing away. There we go. So he's stunned there. Pretty much first hit. Miss. I don't know why he's missing so much. He's just missing all the time, man. This poor guy. But he seems to stun pretty frequently if he gets the back. Yeah, there's another stun attempt. Frenzy swipes his stun style. So if you see that, he's stunned. Okay, he's stunned again there. So yeah, he's a hard-hitting pet that procs AF and ABS debuffs, and he's stunned. So you can also put this guy on a train with a bunch of tanks, and they'll hit hard too. But this is just your damage pet, essentially. So the Aegis is your tanky pet. The Soul Torn is your caster pet that has utility. This guy is your damage pet. He dies a lot quicker. So let's see what we have next. Should be the healer guy. Yep, here we go. The Priest. I'll cast him in normal form. So what this guy does is he simply heals. I believe he cures stuff as well, if I remember correctly. But I don't know if I have a disease or anything like that to test it, so sorry. So let's do some damage to myself. Ooh, calm down, healer. Get back here. So he will go and attack, but now that I get low, he'll start healing me. And it's a 208 heal. It's not great, you know. It's not gonna. I mean, if he's full buffed, it might help a little bit, but he's never gonna out damage anything that's really hitting you hard. So let's turn him into the image of Arwen. So now I think these might be group heals. I don't know. They're healing for not significantly higher. They're healing for consistently higher. So that's good, I suppose, but still not anything to cheer about, really. Let's see if it cures a disease. Let's get this guy low. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to melee my necro. So I have disease applied to me. So it does cure. Okay, so all these spells cure. So I'm diseased on my necro, as you can see. I'm going to do some damage to cast the heal. It's not just going to cure disease. It has to heal and cure. So now it cures and heals. Okay, so it's okay. The pet used to be a lot better. It used to heal for like 400, 500. It could really keep you alive against a caster, but they nerfed it quite a bit. So it's meh. And then we have this pet, the succubus. So what this does, spawns as a succubus, and then what it does is it casts a mez. Let's see, attack. Oops. So the mez lasts on my guy without a ton of resist for 25 seconds or so. It's an energy damage mez. I have 12% energy resist. It's not a great mez. It's okay. Me with the resist and everything, it'd probably be about 18 seconds. Against a det tank, it's going to be negligible. The good thing is, though, let's break this mez. And when I go into this form, he's going to transform. I'm not going to be able to show you the new mez, but I will show you the fact that this thing now dex quick debuffs. So I just cast a mez, but with that mez, it dex quick debuffs, which is nice. It's a pretty strong dex quick debuff. It reduces my dex quick by 70. Not bad. I have 30 seconds left on my mez immunity, and then we'll see how long the mez lasts. But in the meantime, I'll show you the demez for the pet. Don't have to have the pet targeted, just demezes. The heal over time. Let's see if I have to have my pet targeted for it to work. No, it heals me and my pet automatically. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. That's pretty much the whole spirit line. Sorry, these baseline, this tutorial bit's taken forever. But let's see how long this mez lasts. We're about to lose our mez immunity. So right now he's casting AoE mez. Keep in mind with a AoE dex quick debuff. So that's kind of nice. So it only lasts for like 16 seconds. So the mez duration is lower, but it is AoE, I guess. And then the dex quick debuff lasts for 45 seconds. So that's pretty good. What you could do, I guess if you're small man or soloing, you don't have any CC, run this pet. You definitely want to buff whatever pet you're using if you can. If you have a bot, these pets do so much better buffed. The cast speed's a lot better. Their survival's a lot better. Issue is you can only buff one. You can't like swap them, So as soon as you release one, say you start with this thing, but you want to play a fiend now to do a lot of damage. You release this, you lose all your pet buffs. So maybe start with whatever is going to benefit from the most out of full buffs from a bot, if you do run a bot. In groups, I find the Spirit Aegis is best because it's just harder to kill. So that's very popular. You can send it in, it can get nuked a bunch, CC'd, and you'll still be able to do its job. Other things, the Soul Torn's good for ranged interrupts and a little bit of utility. I don't think the Priest is really valuable. I don't really think the Succubus is super valuable. I guess the Fiend could be valuable if you want damage out of your pet. You can, ML9 it and then just let it hit for a lot, I guess. It should hit for a decent amount buffed, but it does require buffs. You can also go the CL line with conch buffs if you want, so you can buff your own pet middle of a run. Just a thought. Anyway, so that's all the baseline spells done. So now let's look at the our death sight. Since this necro is 50 death sight, 14 pain working, 14 servant. This isn't okay. I think this is a pretty good spec because what you get in the sub specs, you lose a blade turn because you get blade turn at 15 death servant spec, but you get some cool things out of this pain working line. But we'll look at the death sight line because that's what we mainly want to focus on. And in this spec line, you get 7, 8 spells. Actually, you do get a blade turn. Sorry, I forgot you got a blade turn in this line. So first off, you get a blade turn. Cool. It's just basic old single hit absorb blade turn, self blade turn. Next, a cool thing for mainly for groups, or if you're with your spirit, your fiend, your plated fiend, is you get a pretty massive AF debuff. And this is a 250 AF debuff, and it just makes your tanks hit for 1 billion. Pretty much cap damage from what I've seen. And it should make your plated fiend hit pretty dang hard. So for example, we'll pull out the old plated fiend just to test this. Where is it? Summon fiend. And we'll keep that in just plated mode. Why not? Send it in on this dude. Let's hit him a couple times just to see how much damage we're doing. So 339, now he's AF debuffed. 543. So lots of damage. Yeah, he's hitting for cap. 543 with this AF debuff. So that's pretty disgusting, I think. We'll transform him into the big guy. We'll let this guy heal up a little bit. It's a pretty long AF debuff too. It lasts for what, 20 seconds? So he's debuffed. Oops, he's not debuffed. So it goes from 460 or 364 to miss to 561. So yeah, this is if you have a buffed pet, it's gonna make him hit pretty hard with this AF debuff. Also, if you have a paladin, armsman, things like that, it's just gonna make them maul things. Anyway, so carrying on from there, we have this channeled frenzy spell, and what this is just a good old-fashioned P-Bay. I'll get in my normal form just so you can see. So it's just a P-Bay. So we'll go over here. I'll stand right here, and we're P-Baying these guys. So hitting for a lot. My cap on this dude is 1159 on this. My cap with this level of acuity. Obviously, I could hit harder if I had a better acuity buff. So yeah, just a big ol' standard 350 radius, or 300 radius, I should say. 305 delve P-Bay. Spirit damage. Challenge. Sorry, I did the duel there. I'm gonna hit this guy for 900. Granted, I barely have any spirit resist, but whatever. Big ol' hit. So next we have this little cool buff, and what this buff does, it's a pulsing group buff. So you just throw it up on ink, or when you start your run, and what it does is it gives everyone in your group a 5% extra chance to crit. So that's nice. You just keep it up. It's a pulse. It stays up. You just forget about it. Next we have this cool AoE dot. Deals 121 spirit damage every 2.5 seconds. That's pretty strong. So let's see how hard it hits. So okay, I just had a massive crit on the dot, and so now the dot's ticking for 408 every tick. So oops. So yeah, crit for an additional 134. I'm probably gonna die. Yep. Okay. So yeah, it can be a pretty nasty dot. Like I said, the cap's like 261 or 302 is what the cap is, I guess. No, 261 because that's a crit. So yeah, it's a hard hitting dot. It's an AoE dot. Keep that in mind. You don't want to break CC with it. But if you're nuking something and it gets spirit debuffed, because your life tap is spirit as well. Like a cab will be spirit debuffing for you if you're in a coordinated group. Throw the dot on him first. And then just nuke him, because that dot's going to do a lot of damage over time. It's not going to do as much as a nuke in 1 or 2 ticks, but over the lifetime of the dot, it's going to out damage a life tap nuke, and that might help, especially if something phase shifts and then doesn't expect to die, and then dots tick through phase shifts. So the dot's pretty nice. Also good in siege situations, zerging situations, since it's a good AoE dot. Throw that up and kill stuff. So let's see, what else do we have in this line? We have this nice little single target root. It's a standard old 2.5 second cast time roots. 1 minute 13 second duration. Basically a baseline root that Sorks and Cavs and Thurgs and stuff like that get, except you have to spec for it. So that's cool. The only other spell you get in this line is called Bringer of Death. And this is really strong because it's a free mock, free mastery concentration, which makes it to where you're uninterruptible for what 16 seconds is the duration of it. It's a 15-minute reuse, so it's kind of a long recast. And it's not quite as long as mock. I think mock's what, like 30 seconds, is that right? Mock is 15. No, that's not right. That was wrong. There we go. Wait, concentration. Mock is 30 seconds. So anyway, Breaker of Death is a 16-second duration, 100% mock. Actually, sorry, not 100%, but it's a 65% mock. So it's not quite as strong as Mock 5, but you get a 50 sight, and also your movement speed increases, so you're more mobile, I guess, which kind of, I don't know, seems weird to me because I feel like if you're casting uninterruptibly, you're not wanting to move. But I guess it's like a last ditch effort. I gotta kite away, maybe burn this and get the movement speed out of it. But it's just a free mock essentially, so kind of nice. Only, like it says, your spells only reach 65% of their potency, and you also turn into this thing. So when you see necros like this, they're mocked, and they look angry. I don't know if you get bonuses from your other forms like this. I don't think so. Yeah, you don't. Okay. That's interesting. Anyway, so that does it for the Death Sight line. The pain-working spells you get in here are, you get this instant root. It's a 90%, pretty much 90% snare. It only lasts for a second though, so it's okay. It's a good quick self peel to get a bit of space. Like, look at, I'm gonna use it on this guy. And I could nuke through it. Oh shoot. Yeah, so it's just a quick way to stop someone. It's not like a long duration peel or anything. The Sense of Magic, what it does, it's a pulse you put up. And then what happens is it just pulses up here, and then every, what was it, duration is 20 seconds. The cast was, I think the frequency is like 5 seconds or something. Every time you get hit, the next spell time you get hit, the damage is reduced by 15, and that goes into healing. So I just got hit, and it healed me for a little bit. Healed me for 16, or no, sorry, it absorbed 59 damage, and then healed me for that much. And then it'll pulse again here in a second. So yeah, pretty decent. It's all right. It's a low level spell. You may as well use it. And then you get Anti-Magic Shell. It's just a 20% AOM for 15 seconds. It's not bad. 20% secondary resist. So if you're getting nuked, throw that up. And then, yep, you get this 25% chance to resist debuff spells. 45-second duration. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Throw that on yourself if a champ's pushing into you, or if you see you're about to get debuffed by like an SM or something, and then you're good to go. Other than that, you get a little bit in Death Servant. You get like a bolt, and then like a pet scare. It's a 9-second pet scare, but still a pet scare, so it helps a little bit. Yeah, you get a bit of range. You get a 1 ABS buff, I guess. That's cool. Gives you a little bit more ABS. You can throw that on yourself or your friends, and then you get this little snare. It's a instant snare, so that's not bad. It's a 3-minute reuse timer, but it's a good interrupt. It's an instant 1000 range interrupt, and it's a 15% snare, so it has its uses. That's pretty much it for this spec. I think this spec's much better than the other spec, the Death Servant spec. That spec kind of got it a little bit. This spec really shines because I think the dot and your live taps hitting really hard with this spec, and this AF debuff. Now we'll look at the other spec real quick. That is Death Servant. And this guy, he's 50 Death Servant, 14 Pain working, and 14 Death Sight. I get the same Pain working stuff that I just went over as the other Necro, and I get a couple of little Death Sight things. But we're going to go over Death Servant spec line. So I get a Blade Turn just like the other spec. I get this little Power Vortex thing, which is a PvAOE damage plus power drain. It's a 30-second recast. So that's kind of nice. It's a good PvAOE interrupt if I need to, or a quick way to get some power. So yeah, it's just a nice little extra bonus. Cool things I get my spec nuke. We're kind of jumping around here just because I'm hitting the good things. Plague Surge, which is a 179 matter DD with a 35% snare. So yeah, if you have like a body sort debuffing matter for you, it's okay. You know, hits all right. This guy's not templated at all, so like I'm gonna hit for nothing, and I'm like rank 2. So, but yeah, it's a decent snare nuke. It used to be higher damage. I think the snare nuke used to be a little bit. The percent used to be better, but they nerfed it a bit. You get a 10 ABS buff, so that's nice. So you become a little bit more tanky. Actually, you became quite a bit more tanky, I should say. And you can give this to your friends. It's pretty strong. You can give this to clerics, friars, even though I don't think it stacks with the friar ABS buff. You can give this to tanks even. It's a pretty strong little buff. 10-minute duration. Yeah, 10 ABS. Other things you get this bolt, which is nice. Just a standard 2-second cast time, which is actually kind of quick for a bolt now. 317 delve bolt. That's pretty hard. Then you get this instant snare. We had the lower level version on the other Necro, but this is a nice 30% snare for 30 seconds. Also ignores root immunity, it also does not provide root immunity, I should say. So that's pretty nice. So it's a nice little instant snare. So you see moving slower. Also does not break on damage, so that's nice as well. Yeah, that's a pretty good spell. Other things we have a nice pet scare. So what's going to happen here is we'll cast a pet. Let's see, let's cast it a little bit over here. Oops, what is it? Apparently we're bugged in duels. Should have scared this pet away. We'll see how it works again if I cast it. Alright. Apparently it's just broken in duels. A lot of these spells are kind of weird when it comes to realm duels, but what this should do is it sends a pet away for like 30 seconds. So if you're fighting some like a chanter pet, it should make the chanter pet run off for 30 seconds. Which is really nice because the owner can't release the pet or anything like that. They can't really control the pet at all. Gift of Arwen is just a power transfer, which is, I guess, nice if you're in a situation where your cleric's like out of power and you got transfer some of your power to him. You can do that. Power Shield. This is interesting because what it does is, let me get some power going here. What this does, if I become low on health, what it's going to do is going to take my power and transfer it to health. So I'm just going to turn this on. And then I'm going to nuke myself. So you see, I just went under like 50%, and then my health shot up to 80%. So we're going to let my health go up a little bit more, and then I'm going to dot myself with the other Necro. Let me just steal some power. There we go. You see how much power I stole right there? 252 power against a player. It's pretty impressive. So I got my power shield on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to dot myself, so we should see damage ticking. So as soon as I hit 50, I should shoot back up. On 51, next tick I should go back up. Yeah, I see I went back up from like 30 something to 85, and I lost all my power because of it. But then, what I want to do is steal some power, and then I go back up a little bit. Any power I get, I regen there. So it's a pretty interesting ability to keep yourself alive. I guess that you lose all your power, but you're still alive, so I guess that's the most important thing. And with this form, you regenerate power pretty quickly. Hit them with the instant power leak, and hit them with this thing when it's up. Let's get a little more damage done to me. You see, I can We'll wait for this to be up, and then I'm gonna show you how much power I can regen quickly. All right. So we're at 0% power. Hit this and this, and I'm at like 100% power if I can hit these two. So I can regen power pretty quickly. So that keeps you alive a bit. And I think we did everything except for the final ability. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, I talked about everything. Power Vortex is the PvOE little power leak that she used. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting spec. It's okay. It's just, it's not like you need a body sort to really do damage to debuff for you. So that's kind of awkward. Oh yeah, power lock. I forgot about this. What this does, it's kind of a weird ability. It's a 10-second grapple essentially, and so what this does is it locks you in place. It takes away some of your power. Sorry, it locks you in place and takes away their power, I should say. Siphoning base power from them, yeah, every 10 seconds while grappled. Neither you nor your opponent can be damaged by melee attacks. Now, what I don't remember is if I can nuke while this. I know I can't move. Let's see. So I guess I have a tank on me. I hit my grapple. Yeah, okay, so I can't cast at all. I become essentially stunned. So what I do is if I'm say a Zerker or something, or like a BM's on me and he's ripping me up, I can use this power lock, grapple him, regen a bunch of power, and then neither of us, I can't be attacked by melee attacks. So if I have a tank train on me, even if I have like 3 Zerkers on me, I can use this and I'm immune to melee damage essentially. So it's a good like get out of jail free card, but you're stuck there, and other things can like catch up to you or something. So it's kind of it's a trade-off type ability. Now the big spell in this line is this thing called Arwen's Legion. A lot of people call it like opening the gate or something like that. What it does is it spits out a few pets and then they run off and they kill stuff. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to cast this, if I can find it, Arwen's Legion. Apparently I have to wait a while to cast it. I don't know why. I need 30 seconds before I can cast this. I guess the pets, they supposedly last for 30 seconds. A bunch of them come out. It's a 10-minute reuse spell. It's an 8-second cast time, so it takes forever to cast. But yeah, it's pretty annoying to deal with if you can get this off, because you just get flooded with pets. It's been nerfed over the last like year or so it's not quite as potent as it once was. So let's see, let's cast it. So we're sitting here, you literally cast this thing for 8 seconds. It's so easy to interrupt, and then all these pets pop out. Here's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they just spread around and hit whatever. They go nuts. They do all sorts of things. They like disease, they nuke. I assume they snare nuke. They melee. There's a lot going on. This guy's running off over here, like trying to scare something over there. It just provides chaos on the battlefield. Can be pretty dang strong, but it's very hard to get off. And I think it only lasts for like 30 seconds, which is enough time. I can't remember if these guys can be confused or like mez and stuff. I'm pretty sure they can. So it does have its limitations, but you throw off, 8, level 50 pets that are very obnoxious to deal with. So it's pretty good. Looking at our subspec, we don't really get a lot. We get a very low level root. Now what you can do is you can go higher into Death Sight up to like 19, I think is the next root, and you get like a 19-second root. So it's still not a great root. It's almost not worth using, but yeah, you don't really get much here. Not really much to talk about in the Death Sight subspec. You can go Warlord. I probably wouldn't on Necro. I'd go for Convoker, as you can see here. You get Speed Warp, ML9 for your pet. It's going to make it, hit harder, stay alive longer, things like that. Let's see, a dual challenge. Actually, did my pet just lose him on that? What's going on there? Let's see if my pet hits any harder. I'm probably still just going to hit that cap. I was seeing it earlier. There we go. Let's see. Let's turn him around and see if we can. There we go. Oh my goodness. That's with the AF debuff, and I guess ML9 hit for 711. So not bad. Not bad at all. Let's hit him again. That was a lot of damage. Yeah, 656 with an ablative that absorbed a bunch, so it would have been a ton. Yeah, 645. Yeah, this guy hits. He hits hard. Yeah, you don't want to mess with this guy. Anyway, so that's probably why you want to go Convoker, just for your pet. It gives you a Brittle Guard, gives you a Speed Warp, pretty useful. Warlord would be nice for Pet Scare and just all the things that Warlord bring you. War Guard, things like that. Defending Mars is nice to help it give you a group made in Insta. But I don't know if it's really worth it, losing a Speed Warp and ML9 Summon Mastery. Abilities you probably want to go. This guy doesn't have it, but you should probably go for the 5 ABS tank line buff. And then after that, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. Realm abilities, I think with Death Sight spec, you want to go for 398 dex. With the other spec, with Death Servant, you can go for like 392 dex. But yeah, 398 for Death Sight because your life tap's 2.5, and 2.5 takes advantage of the 398 dex breakpoint. The 2.9 second DD on Death Servant is fine for 292 or 392. Sorry. Other than that, I think Ichor the Deep's good, especially if you're Death Sight because you have a root. Death Servant doesn't have a good root, so you can't root someone and then they purge it or get av root, and then you can't Ichor them and then re-root them. What Ichor does, Ichor of the Deep, that is it takes away the root immunity. So it works really well when you have a root to back it up with. I'd still probably get it on a Death Servant Necro if I'm with a decent team that I can coordinate CC with. Get some Purge. I get Purge 2 or 3. I probably usually get Purge 3 because I like a 10-minute reuse timer Purge. If you want things like Mock, go for it. Mock's decent. Even though you get a free Mock in Death Sight, if you're high enough rank and need the Mock, you can have 2 Mocks during a fight. That's pretty strong. You're a Mock life typing class. Although your life tap's only a 50% return, it's still decent. I don't know. These other RAs are decent. Soldier's Barricade's cool. It gives you a lot of mitigation, 31% mitigation for 30 seconds. But you're a DPS caster on the Necro in a lot of cases. I probably wouldn't go for that. Maybe if you're a pain-working tank Necro, you could do that. Volcanic Pillar, Negative Maelstrom, things like that, I wouldn't really go for. If you're high enough rank, get Dual Threat 1, because Dual Threat 1 costs 5 points, and it gives you another, 5% chance to crit. I wish it would tell me, but the delve system in this game. I'll look at my other Necro. He doesn't have any RAs. So, slash train. Abilities, dual threats. Where is it? There it is. Yep, so at level 1, it's 5% chance to crit melee and magic for 5 points. However, if you look at Wild Power, if you're low rank, maybe don't get dual threat 1, but once you start getting high rank and quite a bit of mastery of power, start looking at this. So at Master Pain 4 to 5, no, sorry, Master Pain 5 to 6, I should say. Now, Master Pain 5 to 6 cost 5% or 5 realm skill points, and the jump is 5%. So you get the exact same benefit per realm skill point going from Master Pain 5 to 6 as getting dual threat 1. And then once you get dual threat 1 and your Master Pain 5 or wild power, there we go. Once you're wild minion 5, dual threat 1, then you can go wild power 6, and you'll be better off because then your next point, you're not, instead of going like wild power 9, you can go like wild power 8 and then dual threat 1 and be better off, have more crit chance for less money, essentially, for less realm skill points, I should say. So that's nice. Or you can be like wild power 7 and have the same exact crit chance as wild power 8, but you're spending less points if you have dual threat 1 and wild power 7. So keep that in mind. So once I get to wild power 5, if I can get dual threat on anything, I always get it. And then you won't get wild power, master magery, and then Acuity. Those are your damage RAs. Your maybe long in one if you want perma sprint off low potions. So master your focus is never a bad idea, just depending on what level your spells are. Your life tap's level 49, so maybe master focus 1. Some of your other spells, like your AF debuff, are level 44, things like that. If we look at this, level 44, so master your focus will help there. And yeah, you don't get physical defense on Necro, so you can't really help against that. If you're getting nuked a lot, maybe some master magery, but I would just go like damage, honestly. Screw it, just kill stuff. But this is a rank 12 Necro spec. He's gone full damage. He's acuity 8. He's magery 9. He's wild power 7. He is dual threat 1, purge 2, Ichor the deep 1, and then focus 2. And a little bit of toughness, apparently, and some serenity. It's decent RA spec for hitting hard. You can put in some mock if you want to. That'd probably be the only thing I'd change, or maybe higher purge. As far as template goes, your standard caster template, you want as much arcane siphon as you can. Your staff should provide 10%. This otherworldly gem will provide 10 if you use that. You can use the decaying set on Necro. The caster set gives you it makes your con debuff a little bit better. It goes from 41 to 66 con. There's also some conversion on the piece and pyrogen, so that's nice. You do give up Infernal Sleeves, which has 10 pyrogen on it, but you get a little bit from the chest piece. The set bonus isn't a must. It's nice because that's free con debuff there. It's 25 extra con debuff, so that's pretty good. It's not absolutely crucial though if you can't fit it. Go for I don't know. You got a lot of stuff here. Go for a melee resist charge. Otherworldly agile belts. Vigilante belts are good. Gives you 10% / crush thrust. This one also has some conversion, which is nice. Get a otherworldly ring charge, gives you some extra hits in AF. Band of the Dream Conqueror does the same thing. It stacks with the otherworldly ring. And then some Cursed Bloods gauntlets, if you can fit them, it gives you 25% IP. Any of the Cursed gauntlets are probably pretty good. The Loyal Cloak is nice because let's see, what does this do? Oh yeah, it's the group range buff. So you have a 10% range charge on your cloak for your group. The single target buff is just a single target zone of a mana. It's not great. I'd rather use the range charge. Really nice. Also just good stats on it, really. And then Winter Myth gives you more physical defense, some pyrogen, some duration and acuity. Yeah, that's pretty much it. A pretty simple, straightforward class. Oh yeah, the rank 5. I always forget about rank 5s for some reason. What this does is it's not going to tell me the right delve. So I'm going to look up let's look up on this character planner, see if it has the correct delve. If not, I can just go off the top. Call the darkness. Here we go. You become a demon lord is what it says. You gain benefits from all of your forms. So your tank form, your decrepit form, and your other form, I believe. So you get all your forms, all the benefits from that, but they're all increased by 10%. So what that means is you're a lot more tanky because you get the tank benefits, the extra health, the extra AF. You get the extra ABS from the tank form as well, but increased by 10%, all of that. You get extra damage from your caster form. So you normally get 10%. I guess now you get 12% extra damage. You also get, I don't know if the ABS from that form and the ABS from the tank form stack, but if they do, then you get a lot of ABS. I guess every hit that you receive diseases someone, so that's really nice. You get stealth lore and stuff like that. You get conversion, I suppose, as well from the spirit form. And you also get as you can see here, I don't know if all this is right, but you regenerate power, your melee absorption goes up by 30, your health and armor go up by 40%, your armor factor is increased by 275, pretty good. Your You get a weapon skill buff to pain working. You get a 24% chance to parry, and you get extra secondary resist. Targets resistance to all damage by 65%. Is that real? Wow, that's insane. So yeah, so what happens is we'll look at our stats. We'll hit rank 5. We go into this form. We have 3k hit points now. 3k hit points. We have I don't see any secondary resist coming up here, but yeah, we get a bunch of stuff going on. I don't know if I'm still in the duel. Yeah, so I get disease every time I hit someone. My health regen's sky high. A lot of stuff happens. It's a really good rank 5. It makes you so tanky and it makes you so scary to deal with, especially on like tank necros. I just run in when I'm on tank necro and I rank 5 and I like kill everyone. That's pretty much what I do. It's pretty nasty, but yeah, it's a short rank 5. It's only 30 seconds, 15-minute duration, or 15-minute reuse timer, but it's pretty potent. Anyway, that's been the Caster Necro. You use that and you mock, you're like not dying, and you're just hitting for a billion, even while you're mocked. But anyway, that's been Caster Necro. If you have any questions, if I missed anything, let me know. Just put them down in the comments. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.